Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Katie, and I'm with the NOAA Central Library, and we are bringing this seminar today to you. Just so you know, you are all an attendee, so that means you cannot speak, but you can put your questions or your comments into the chat or the question panel, and we will get to those as we can or at the end of the presentation. Also, just so you know, we are recording this, so everything you put in the chat or the questions will be recorded and sent on to the speaker afterwards. Now, hashtag Safe Place Selfie, saving lives one post at a time. The library is very excited to co-host this. If we could get every American to take one preparedness action to protect themselves from extreme weather, what would it be? Many experts would say taking the time to identify your safe place is the most essential preparedness activity. All the warnings and emergency kits and communication plans become less important if you don't know where to go to stay safe. This is true for tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, floods, lightning, tsunamis, rip currents, and every other natural hazard. Today we have Doug Hilderbrand, who is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service headquarters, who leads the Weather Ready Nation Ambassador and StormReady programs, and leads a Weather Service-wide external engagement strategy team. Doug is approaching 20 years with the National Weather Service, with stints as a forecaster, an R2O team lead, and NOAA policy advisor, and a communication specialist. And with that, I will turn it over to Doug.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you everybody for being able to join me here today. What is unique, I think, about this presentation is that, and Safe Place Selfie, is that all of you can participate to the level that you're comfortable with and to the maximum, capacity. This is getting a movement started, a campaign. Obviously, it's social media based with the hashtag Safe Place Selfie. But I want to make the point right up front that this isn't just a weather service thing or, something for other people. This is for you. This is for your NOAA office. And, hopefully over the time here today, you get a better understanding of what we're trying to do. And as the title implies here, saving lives one post at a time. You never know what difference that you can make with your family, friends, your social network to driving more preparedness action and getting people to really think about where is their safe place when it comes to a whole handful of hazards out there. So let's go slide by slide here. It's not forwarding, Katie.
Ooh, okay. If you want to click into your screen, and there should be, yep, there we
go. Perfect. All right. So I'm just going to go over the basics and then get into a little details of, the nuances that really, can optimize your engagement with Safe Place Selfie and over social media here. So the what is we're coming up a week away from Safe Place Selfie Day, and it's a focal point is one day where we try to get as much activity. However, if April 7th is a bad day for you, you can certainly participate ahead of time. You can participate really anytime using the hashtag, but to really try to drive activity and this messaging and get as many people engaged on Safe Place Selfie Day. We are looking for posts on April 7th. That's next Wednesday. And as Katie mentioned in the introduction here, we are really looking at one of the most essential, if not the most essential preparedness action, and that is your location. Too many times disaster strikes, tragedy strikes, and people kind of, explain, well, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And with our advances in weather forecasting, our warning and our alert system, getting that life-saving information to people, getting that information to them is so critical, but it's not the entire piece of the puzzle, that there are other things. And one of those big things is getting people to know where to go. And so that's what this Safe Place Selfie is all about. And we ask for 3 things. Look at there on the slide. Learn the weather hazards that happen in your area. It's more than just, the possibility of severe weather and a tornado. It could be anything from flooding, which can happen anywhere, to rip current safety along the coasts, or even, wildfires and any hazard really that, the National Weather Service and NOAA, deals with. Then let's talk about those safe locations and take a selfie of that location. Now, does it really have to be a selfie? No. We really are liberal with the use of, what a safe place selfie can mean. It could be an image of, trees around your home and how they've been pruned back. It could be a, material or content from your NOAA office. And again, I want to reiterate, this is both your personal social media accounts as well as professional. So if you want to get your NOAA office or your organization outside of NOAA engaged in all of this, by all means, push it on your professional side, but then also look to your personal accounts as well. So then, really be creative on posting of the selfie, and then using the hashtag Safe Place Selfie. A lot of us within the Weather Service, at FEMA, even the CDC, we've been organizing this event to really drive activity, try to get it trending on Twitter and getting a lot of eyes on this across several social media platforms. So as I've mentioned, and I'll say it again, Safe Place Selfie is next Wednesday, April 7th. Any time is good on the 7th. However, we are trying to get people to post at 11:11 local time. So if you're on the East Coast, you'll be the first ones to be posting at 11:11. Then it will carry forward across the country all the way to Alaska, Hawaii, even the Pacific Islands, which technically April 7th, happens well in advance there in Guam. But, again, driving that, trying to get things trending, really posting at that 11:11 time allows us to have that peak, 4 or 5 times during the day. So the where, again, using the hashtag Safe Place Selfie. We are focused on Twitter. However, it's not just a Twitter event. We will be posting on Facebook. We will be posting on Instagram. Those are the 3 platforms that the National Weather Service's big national account engages on. But if you have others, if you have children that, love TikTok, by all means, Snapchat, whatever. Even LinkedIn, you can have a little Safe Place selfie posted on your professional site there. Going back to the why, obviously, whether you're an individual, you're a business, or you're a community, preparedness plays a big role on sort of the outcome of any, natural disaster. So by getting people to take just one preparedness action and then making it fun, I think it's really important, and sort of the success over the last 5 years of Safe Place Selfie is this is a fun thing to do. And by making it fun, people can think, well, I did one preparedness action. I had a good experience doing that action. What other actions can I take? And that's sort of the gateway to greater preparedness for individuals and communities across the country. Then the other thing that's unique about Safe Place Selfie is that it captures preparedness in action. We're not asking people to, look at an infographic or watch a video. We are asking people to actually take the action we want them to take, and then capturing that. And that's rare in our portfolio of preparedness sort of campaigns. And, that practicing is very important. It sets your mind to knowing where to go, but actually going to that location means less hesitation and less confusion if something like a tornado or a flood or lightning comes your way. So the most important slide, I think, in this presentation is the ask. What are we asking all of you to do? One, participate yourself, as I mentioned, with your personal social media accounts, but then reach out to your colleagues at NOAA or your external organization and start thinking about, well, how could we tie a safe place selfie message to our mission? So if you're in fisheries and you want to talk about healthy habitats, your safe place in your community might be, you know, vegetation or some green infrastructure that would buffer a storm coming off the ocean. Think about how a safe place and the Safe Place Selfie campaign, you know, highlights the important work that you do. It doesn't just have to be so, you know, weather centric. And then again, you know, look beyond that severe weather. You know, I love people participating in Safe Place Selfie, but we don't need 5,000, you know, selfies with your shower curtain and you're, you know, standing in your bathtub. We want people to be creative. Go on out there, look at other hazards. You can post multiple times based on different hazards, and you know, your safe place is definitely going to change. A vehicle is a great example. Vehicles can be a safe haven for something like a, you know, the standard thunderstorm where you're being protected by the lightning. Your vehicle is protecting you from the lightning, but a vehicle is a very bad place for things like a flooded roadway, like a tornado or other severe weather. So your safe place is going to change based on the hazard. And then, and this is, you know, really where we're looking to grow this campaign, challenge others. And you can even just put right into your post, where is your safe place from weather hazards, and you can tag them so that they know that you're asking that person, hey, where is your safe place? And in the example here from last year, one of our organizing members challenged Admiral Gallaudet, and he took on that challenge and posted a great safe place selfie there. So look to challenge others. And in a world where, you know, a lot of times the, you know, especially the youth of today are, you know, kind of getting into dangerous spots on challenges, this one actually saves lives and gets people out of harm's way. So kind of wrapping up here, the bottom line is Safe Place Selfie. It's fun, it's free. We're not asking people to buy things for, say, their emergency preparedness kit, and it's going to save lives. It's going to get people out of harm's way, and you know, there's going to be a headline that doesn't exist because tragedy was avoided and people took the right preparedness action. And even in this era, you know, as we continue through the pandemic, we were able to successfully pull this off last April, which was a challenge with the onset of the pandemic, but you can definitely follow all the health guidelines from the CDC and local officials by engaging, you know, over social media and bringing in your family as well. And there's a lot more information at weather.gov/safe place selfie. So I think that is it. I've got my contact information. If you have questions, especially if you see the recording of this, feel free to email me and I can help you with any questions or comments that you have. So I'm going to backtrack just to this one here so that everyone can see the website. But Katie, do we have any questions?
We don't have questions from the audience right now, but I have a question. Since
All right.
I'm in a apartment complex, where should be the safest place for me? Should I go like especially in Maryland? What are my weather concerns here?
So number one, without actually seeing your apartment, I can't give you all the nuanced details of like where's the perfect place. But typically you want to get down, especially if it's from a tornado. Let's say we have tornadoes here in this area and you're under a tornado warning. If you're on the top floor, I would suggest getting down, and usually the best place is a stairwell. Those are, usually metal and concrete and, really hardened material. And so you want to get in the stairwell and you want to get low from a tornado. But again, depending on where you are, if it's a flood event, you kind of want to get high. Onto a second story or something like that. So it all depends on the hazard, but yes, from severe weather, get into that interior stairwell away from windows and put as many walls between you and the outside.
Sounds good. I will find my stairwell for my selfie.
There you go. Anyone with other questions?
Yes, we're looking. I'm going to give everyone 30 more seconds.
Great.
We do have a question. What is the best way to convey to someone who is taking shelter from a tornado, but there's also a flood going on?
Great question. And, this is where our very brief, sort of tweet-sized messages on preparedness, kind of falls apart, because there are nuances and there are complex situations. And what I always like to say is, rely on your fundamentals, right? So if you have multiple hazards coming at you and seemingly the protective action kind of goes against one another, I know out in, central US and whatnot, where you get those, really intense tornadoes, they'll say, get out of your car and go into a ditch. Well, we've had issues, especially in Oklahoma, where you have a flash flood event where those ditches are filling up, and we've actually had people die from flooding and not the tornado itself. So you have to be, number one is you have to be aware of your surroundings and what the issues are. So that goes back to that fundamental preparedness action, which is have multiple sources for information, so that you can get the, situation where if the rain is coming down hard enough and long enough, flash flooding would be an issue. But, if you are in the path of a tornado and you're getting that tornado warning, and, that's going to be your number one sort of most imminent hazard. So I would always, triage the, what's my greatest risk? Let's take a protective action from that, and then start thinking, okay, well, here are some secondary threats that I need to adjust my protective action.
Thanks.
Great.
Yeah, good question. I had another question. When did Safe Place Selfies start?
So it started, 4 or 5 years ago, and it's grown every year. And we've really expanded, what we want people to do. We do want people to challenge others, and we want people to get creative. This is, it's part science, but it's also part art. And, you can make a big impact. I know I've posted Safe Place Selfies on heat vehicle safety, with young children. Even had my newborn a few years ago, I took a photo of the back seat, and you need to set reminders. So my Safe Place Selfie had, my wallet and my car keys, because I don't need to now stick the key in the actual car. I would, when my daughter is in her seat on the floor, I would put my keys and my wallet, so that I know, it's almost impossible for me to get distracted and leave the car without her. So it's those types of things that you can really think about. Your safe place, yes, it's a vehicle, for lightning, but again, vehicles can also be very dangerous when it comes to heat and, young children, and pets. And even in the pandemic, this past, last summer, because so many people were teleworking and, their children are home, are at home, we saw a rise in deaths from children trying to get into the car. Like maybe they left their stuffy or, an electronic in the back seat. And so, with the child locks, they can open it, get inside, but if the door closes, it kind of locks them out. And then they're not aware of the dangers of heat. And so there are a lot of, there was a bigger increase in tragedies that way. So, not to scare everybody, but it's just important to take that ounce of preparedness to avoid that bad day.
Yeah, thank you. What over the years has been the most creative safe place that you've seen?
Well, I can tell you my favorite safe place selfie was Punxsutawney Phil, with the gentleman in the top hat, and they were in a shelter. They had their emergency supplies of food, water, and whatnot. But that was awesome to have Punxsutawney Phil. The other sort of notable selfie was along the beaches of the Panhandle of Florida. A couple of lifeguards posted a selfie on their lifeguard stand that was very popular as well. But again, getting to the heart of rip current and surf safety. You're going to go for a swim, make sure it's between the flags and be connected to that lifeguard stand so that you're entering water that doesn't have the strong rip currents that are hazards. And so the most creative are really getting to some of these other hazards and making that making a good strong message.
Okay. Is there any competition between the line offices to produce the best safe place selfie?
Let's make that happen, Katie.
Yes.
Yes, the Weather Service has the advantage of 122 weather forecast offices. But maybe we can put them aside and I look at and a little bit of context here, and then maybe I'll shut up. But down at the bottom, it's subtle on these slides, but every slide has it. It says building a weather ready nation. And I've been involved with Weather Ready Nation since the beginning, 10 years ago. And building a weather ready nation is, or originally was and still is, a NOAA priority. It was in our strategic plans. Up to the Department of Commerce, they supported it. Building a weather ready nation is 10 years old and it's strong as ever. But Weather Ready Nation is a NOAA program and priority and movement, not just a weather service. So if you look across, our aircraft, our ships, our satellites, obviously our research in oceans and atmospheres, and the great work that NOS does, and the great work in fisheries. I've engaged the Marine Sanctuaries program where safety at sea is important, and in making sure that people who visit these sanctuaries have that safety first mentality. I mentioned the healthy habitat, so you can focus on coastal resilience and ecological resilience. So there's a great number of paths that NOAA can go down, and NOAA education can start talking about the safe place connection to information, and that's always a good message to make to everybody, that we're not, the trust that has been built, the accuracy of our forecasts, it doesn't happen by magic. And the contribution across NOAA and across our external partners is incredible. And so we get a lot of our weather industry partners participating in schools. So I could go on, but you know.
That was going to be my next question. Is there participation across countries, across different agencies?
Well, I know Twitter and hashtags don't know any borders, and we have had sort of an international participation in this, but it is certainly, you know, broad in region. Again, you know, the one thing, if you told me what the biggest challenge over the 4 or 5 years has been, it's really to expand people's imagination to go beyond just a safe place from a tornado, where, you know, it's a shelter in place, you know, mentality. Hurricanes, it could be, you know, your safe place, you know, if you're within the storm surge evacuation area, your safe place is getting out of danger. But you know, other times it's staying put, especially if you're, you know, far from the coast. And so that's the one thing that would really be good is how can we be creative, more inspiring for other people? Because ultimately that's the power of this, and that's the power of social media is, you know, if one person posts on Safe Place Selfie, you know, it doesn't, you don't get the result that you're looking for. But if we had, you know, 15,000 NOAA employees and every single one of them posted on their social media network, just NOAA itself, forget about the 330 million other people, NOAA itself, we would be reaching millions and millions of, you know, Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts.
That is awesome. Okay, last chance for our attendees. If you have a question, giving you 30 seconds to write that down. You know,
awesome.
Time limit on there. Are there any other events going on around this in the next week, or is the major media blitz reserved for the 7th?
So we continue the drumbeat on outreach and getting, you know, people informed. We work with our partners. We've engaged with the American Meteorological Society. They have a great connection to TV meteorologists across the country. So I've done 4, 5, 6 interviews on Safe Place Selfie. I'll be doing a few more over the next week, and you know, there will probably be other requests coming up soon. But you know, it's all hands on deck. And again, you know, if you are inspired and you love this Safe Place Selfie concept, go all in. Take ownership of this. This is not a, you know, there's no pride on my end. There's no pride on the Weather Service side. You know, if you have social influencers that you know, or even don't know, and you just want to tag them, you know, your favorite actor or your favorite athlete, you know, it takes one little spark to really make this sort of a viral thing. And wouldn't it be awesome if, you know, people look and sort of in pop culture, Safe Place Selfie, people thought, oh yeah, that's to protect myself from weather and environmental hazards.
Well, I am going to make sure the library does something from our separate locations. And unfortunately for everyone, I gave up TikTok for Lent, so I can't get on there, but soon enough. Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you everyone for listening. As I said, we recorded this. We will be posting it on the library's YouTube channel. And if you want to pass it on to a colleague and inspire them to come all out for the Safe Place Selfie on April 7th, please do that. Thank you all and have a wonderful day. Be safe.
Thank you.